that this Ravens team, Walt, is just like this great giant that we have to be able to slay this giant for this organization to get over the hump, man. I think it's a bunch of BS. I think that the Ravens are good. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson ain't great, but the Lions have more. They're way more equipped to beat this team than they were the last time they played them, in my opinion. I think that was the first game Jahmyr Gibbs scored his first touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, when we played the Ravens the first time, in garbage time. You got an effective Jahmyr Gibbs. You got a more confident Jared Goff. I think the offensive line, like you said, I think they're somewhere in the middle. I don't think that they're as bad as they were against the Packers. I don't think they're as great as they are against the Bears, right? So I just believe that this team, the Lions I'm speaking of, is ready to go in there and win this game. I don't believe that Dan Campbell is going to sit under him. They rarely ever have like a string of games where they don't play well. I
No, you're
trust
right.
Dan Campbell's coaching. I really do, man. I think that just what I was saying, just we were talking about Marcus Davenport. He's a non-factor at this point. I think you can win the game without Marcus Davenport. If we can get pressure with Talik Williams, who's been nice, man. I like Talik. He's been causing a little bit of havoc in there last week, but again, we can't hold too much against Chicago because Chicago stinks, man. Total misread by me again. I just think the Bears are horrible, man. I thought they would be way better. But before I let you take it away, I just believe, well, I think that this is a game that Jameson Williams can really cause some problems. I think that schematically, I don't think that they can guard us. That's how I'm just looking at. Yeah, Lamar is great if we can get pressure on the inside, force Lamar on the outside. We got Jack Campbell, we got Derek Barnes, we got Anzalone. Brian Branch can help. We got guys who can sure tacklers. That's going to be the key of the game. If we could wrap Lamar Jackson up and not let him just get loosey goosey and just do whatever he wants, I think if we do that, I think we're going to win the game. I don't think they can stop us defensively. I don't have no fear at all with the Ravens defense, man. I just can't believe that this city, what I've been hearing all week, like you said, no one's even saying it. It's almost like people are scared to say that the Lions they can beat the Ravens, and it's almost like they don't want to be wrong. And I can be on this show and be wrong. I don't care if I pick the Lions and they lose by 50. I come on here the next week and I'll smile and pick them again next week. You know what I'm saying? If I think they're going to win, this is just a game I think the Lions are going to win, Walt. I don't have any troll factor to it or receipts I'm trying to make or anything like that. I just think that look at the team's rosters. They got a couple pass rushers, Oweh and the kid. I'm butcher his name. When it starts with an M, I can't think of his name. Marmaduke, or excuse me, in Baltimore Lamp. I'm saying it wrong. They're okay. They're not great at pass rush. Kyle Van Noy.
You know what I think really happened with them, and I'm gonna let you get back to it. What I think of what really happened with them is, I think didn't Pierce retire, the nose tackle, Michael Pierce, because everything was built around him on the interior. That's where, and that goes back to people underestimating and just flat out not appreciating nose tackles. Like, and another thing too, McDonald ain't there no more either defensively. You know, he's been in Seattle going on 2 years now, and that defense hasn't looked the same since he left either. But back to what you were saying, I just wanted to go ahead and clarify that real quick.
And it's feel like, the history of this rivalry hasn't been, not a rivalry, but a history of these teams playing against each other. Remember, I think Justin Tucker hit 2 ridiculous field goals. I think one that got Jim Caldwell fired. I think it was a Thursday night game. It was a 65-yarder. Yeah, Casey, I agree with you. I don't think the Ravens are that great like everybody's saying they are. They ain't the Eagles. If you put the Ravens against the Eagles, they ain't the Eagles. Okay, they lost to the Bills by one, but they can't beat Buffalo. I don't think they can. So are they a good team? Of course they are. I think they're on par with a Super Bowl contender team. But get back to what I'm saying. I think that the last 4 or 5 games they have had the Lions number, and we've lost some great, some greatly. This last time we played them in 2023 was very disappointing. But how can you even bring up 2023's game, the 38-6 loss, and say that's automatically what's going to happen next week? It just doesn't make any sense, man, to me. You know what I mean? To already write us off and say we're not going to win. It's ridiculous, man. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, we get to our pick segment later. I'm picking a line. I think the Lions are going to win the game outright. If I'm wrong, I'll come on this show and say I was wrong. But Ravens got to show me, man, that it is great. I think the Lions are way more capable than people are giving them credit for. Dan Campbell, Jared Goff's a better player. I think St. Brown's going to be a problem. I think Sam Laporta's going to be a problem. And you tell me you got Laporta matched up with the rookie Teddy Buchanan. I think give me Sam Laporta in that spot all day long. You give me Jamison Williams. Yeah, Kyle Hamilton's great, and that's the one guy I think because probably got Malachi Starks back there, another guy that me and you both liked in the draft. So I think our secondary is equipped to handle what they're throwing out there against us. You know what I'm saying, Walt? But I don't think that they're equipped to handle us. That's how I feel about it. So
No, I agree. If you look at it strictly from a matchup standpoint, personnel standpoint, also how poor that Ravens defense has been. The Cleveland game, this is where I think both of these teams are kind of polar, right with each other, because Baltimore had a terrible defensive showing week one against Buffalo. They turned around, had a bounce back game against the Cleveland Browns offense that can't score. So they kind of got their groove back a little bit. They held Cleveland to 17 points. Now they're running back up against a more high-powered offense than Buffalo. Now, you can make the argument that Buffalo's quarterback is better, but offensively, we're better than Buffalo. So now they're in a situation where they have to prove it defensively all over again. Because, listen, man, the first 2 weeks, and I understand most of these god-awful stats come from that Buffalo week one loss. But this is a team that's bottom quarter in the league and everything defensively right now. They're giving up 5.7 yards per carry. If I'm not mistaken, they're 31st in the league in passing yards given up. So this is a defense that, if you factor in the amount of pressure and the amount of praise that we all were giving them, I was giving it to them. I thought that this was probably going to be the best overall Ravens team that Lamar Jackson's had around him. Now, it's only week 2. We could be sitting here week 15 talking about how great the Baltimore Ravens look and how high-powered and unbeatable they look. But right now, they look beatable. They look very beatable. And for me, it's no excuses. This Ravens team right now, the way they look, especially defensively, they're not better than that Ravens team 2 years ago that beat us by 30. They're not. So if you're going to get the Ravens, this is the year to get them. Because you should, at least on paper, you should be better. Now, the thing is this. Offensively, you talking about Derrick Henry. You talking about Lamar Jackson. You got 2 hammers right there. Now, you can say the rest of those guys on offense, they're makeshift guys, whatever. But when you have 2 guys that are big-time difference makers like that, like Lamar's capable of going off for 5 touchdowns. Derrick Henry's capable of getting 230 on any defense in the league for that matter. So those are the main issues. Those are the 2 guys you got to keep in check. To me, this game, and I take this back 2 years ago. Remember the Charger game 2 years ago where we all felt like heading into that game, it was going to be a 39-35 type of game? I feel that this is the direction it's going in because both offenses are high-powered. They're in a groove right now. Defensively, our defense didn't struggle against the Bears last week, but that was our bounce-back game, like the Cleveland Browns game was their bounce-back game defensively. So I think Both defenses, Lions defense, Ravens defense, they're up for the challenge. They got big
Yeah.
challenges this week. Do I believe we're going to be able to stop the Ravens from running the football? I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. And that's the big issue, because if you let Baltimore just run the ball all over you, chances of you winning that game ain't going to happen, because once Derrick Henry gets rolling, Lamar gets rolling, the play action gets rolling, Zay Flowers gets rolling, next thing you know, Baltimore, because they front runners. Baltimore either going to beat you by 25 points, or it's going to be, they're going to play down to the level of their competition, and it's going to be a 17-15 game against the Giants or something like that. I throw that out there because that was a Giants game from a few years ago they had. But I just think that if you're going to beat Baltimore, this is the team to catch. Now, Baltimore later on in the season, I feel in regards to Baltimore the same way I feel about us. This isn't the best representation of us right here through week 2. We're gonna know exactly what we are, and what we have on our team by week 5, week 6, week 7. That's when you really know who's the real Baltimore Ravens, who's the real Detroit Lions, who's the real Philadelphia Eagles, and so on and so on. But like I said, if you're gonna get Baltimore, this is the year, this is the point in time in the season to get them. And for me, there's no shame in losing to the Baltimore Ravens. Do I want to beat Baltimore? Of course. Should this team expect to go to Baltimore and win?
Yes.
Of course they should. But there's no shame in losing to Baltimore. But as you and I discussed before the video started, if you go to Baltimore and you get embarrassed again, this fan base has the right to wake up Tuesday morning and ask some questions. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And I agree. Like I say, I think the Lions are way more equipped now to play. You got Dan Campbell has really, put a stamp with this team, as opposed to the first time we played them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, you got a rookie head coach coming in, MT&T Stadium on a Monday night, big stage, and he's a deer in headlights. You know what I'm saying? Our organization hasn't went the Mike McDaniel route with the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? After a couple years, you could see where the Dolphins are going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I just use them because they're a disaster too, and I just feel like our team is like, our
What up,
teams
Billy?
are just, I really just believe that this is the game where the Lions show up and just shut everybody up, man. I really do. I think that them days, see, people are, this is what cracks me up with this fan base. Like, they're waiting on the other shoe to drop. They're waiting on it. They're waiting to say, well, look, we missed all the opportunities we're ever going to have. We lost 31 zip to the Ravens. Let's not even talk about they're back to the old Lions again. I think that way of thinking is Dan Campbell put that with me. I'm just speaking for myself. Okay. I don't know. People may still feel that way. I don't know. But I just think that our offense is going to cause them way more problems. You know what I'm saying? They don't have Ray Lewis over there. They don't have Terrell Suggs. You know what I'm saying? It ain't Haloti Nada in his heyday.
They got Roquan Smith.
Man,
they got some players. Like I said, I just think that, man, the defense is just behind right now. But like I said, I don't. You look at the Ravens, I feel the same way about them. Like, do I think they're defensively as bad as they looked against Buffalo?
Yeah.
Probably not. Are they as good as we saw against Cleveland? You can say that, maybe, because we've seen Baltimore get hot and beat up on some teams. Like, I didn't see that game being as, even though it was 12, or before kickoff, it might have got down to 11 and a half that they had on that game. But I just didn't see Cleveland going on the road against Baltimore with their history and losing by that much. Now, if I would have bet the 200 that I thought about betting, it'd have been different. But yeah, I just think that both teams are at a early season crossroads. Okay, we lost to Buffalo. The defense looked like complete baby shit. We turned around, we bounced back, we hammered Cleveland the way we should hammer Cleveland. But I just look at with Detroit, man, if a 17-game season now is all about measuring stick games, I'm not going to learn anything about you if you lose to Baltimore, whether you lose by 5 points or you lose
That's
by
right.
25 points, especially if you get blown out. I'm not going to learn anything from you by coming back home and beating up on the defenseless Cleveland team. And that's what I fear is that fans live so much within the wins and they kind of disregard all of the red flags that we get in these losses. And the notion and the fan base around, not the fan base, but the notion and well, the overall notion around here probably would be, well, you know what, we're fine. Everything is back to normal. We beat Cleveland by 40, so we're good. Like, no, like beating Chicago and beating Cleveland does nothing for me, especially if I see piss poor efforts against Baltimore and against Green Bay. Like, those are your
Yeah.
competition right there. You got a big time matchup with Tampa coming in a few
Yeah.
weeks. Regardless of how people feel about Kansas City, you still have to go to Kansas City and respect Kansas City. So it's, I just think that, and you and I discussed this, we were texting about this yesterday. Where do you think they need to be by week 8, which is the bye? I feel like they should be 5-2. Their best bet heading into that last stretch of games where you got the Eagles and Rams and all those people, you need to be 5-2 by week 8. Because you come out of that bye with a big time game against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Immediately after the bye. You said no less than 4-3. I think 4-3 is kind of pushing it. Because you're not leaving yourself too much wiggle room. Not to say that you don't expect to beat everybody on the back end of your schedule, but you got some tough matchups in the second half of the season, man. I just think that getting to 5-2, and who knows, they could win all these.
I don't think that. Well, I think that you could. It's a dangerous game to play the schedule game. I do, because teams become like real. They become good within 8 weeks. Like, perfect example, like the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys, will know a lot about them. How for real? I mean, is the Cowboys and Bears is totally intriguing game, because then you look at, we got the Cowboys later on in the season, right? During that stretch, that may not be a gimme anymore. You know what I'm saying? The Giants,
I don't think
right?
it
That's what I'm
is.
saying. Right now,
I
I
think the
believe it's not a
Cowboys,
gimme. So
yeah,
what I'm saying is, you can't just
yeah.
automatically concede this game against the Ravens. Say, oh well, we'll lose this one, but we'll pick it
Oh
up.
no,
Not
I'm
you,
not
not you per
conceding it,
se, but
but
I'm just saying. I've
yeah,
heard people say that though, like, automatically
already
got it as
got
a
it as
lot,
a
right? And
loss.
say, well, we just gonna beat the Giants and we just gonna beat the Rams. We might not beat the Rams, bro. You know what I'm saying? We might not go to LA and win that game. So you got this one in front of you. I'm looking at the Ravens schedule real quick, Juan, because I kind of wanted to see kind of their fans, how they kind of gauging this thing. And it's not a foregone conclusion that this team, let's see, after the Lions, I think they're playing the Chiefs, I think. Yeah, here we go. They play the Lions, obviously. Then they play the Chiefs at Kansas City. They play at home against the Texans after that. So they got some matchups. They got the Rams they play. They got the division schedule. They got the Vikings. So it's not like, this is going to be a gimme game for them either. You know what I mean? I mean, the Ravens can find themselves 1-2 at the end of this game. You know what I'm saying? And then, obviously, I think they got caught a break, because I don't think Pittsburgh or Cincinnati is better than the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? So I think their division isn't that gauntlet of a schedule like the Lions, having to play the Packers again and the Vikings twice. So it's going to be very interesting, man. I'm looking for our guys to respond. I'm looking for Jack Campbell, man. I'm looking for Brian Branch. I feel good about our secondary. I feel good about Kirby Joseph. He's seeing the ball already, tracking the ball already. Had interception last week. I feel good with Terran Arnold to kind of get his feet up under him with Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman and guys that I like Flowers. I mean, Flowers is a guy who does make plays down the field. It's going to be Terran Arnold's going to have to run stride for stride with them, man, and not get beat. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. But I think our secondary, Walt, I think when it comes down to it, yes, they got Kyle Hamilton. Yes, I think what's the Wiggins? I think Wiggins is on the injury report. I don't know if
Nate
he's playing
Wiggins.
well. I think he was
Yeah.
doubtful. So they might be down the defensive player back too. So very intriguing matchup. I really like this game. And like you said, I want to be able to, this is a measuring stick game. It really is. Let's just say we go in there and lose, right? And it's 31-17 or something like that, right? And I'm not going to be happy, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if the other side of my point is, I think the Lions are better than what the naysayers think they are. You know what I'm saying? I think I love just losing that first game. I don't love it like for the team, but what I'm saying is because that's for the naysayers to say the Lions aren't that good. You know what I'm saying? Because we lost the way we lost to the Packers. So now it's always that carrot that we're chasing for the season. And I kind of think with this team is kind of needed. I can't, you know what I'm saying? We cruised last year. We were on cruise control the whole year last year until people start getting hurt and then it start getting stressful at the end of the season. But remember what? We won 15 games. That team was 15-2 last year and basically beat everybody we played. So now to have a little bit of adversity, like you said, it's the perfect time to play the Ravens, man. I think, like you said, where they're still sorting their defense out. You know, they're still sorting some things out, you know, offensively, what they want to do. Listen, King Henry, first ballot Hall of Famer. I love Derrick Henry, but not Monday night, man. He ain't gonna do it Monday night. He ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I'm looking at it. I just think now if he does run for, he put up a 200 piece on us, then that's, you know, if he puts up 200 piece on, then yeah, that's rightfully, that's proof is in the pudding that the Lions going to lose that game. But I don't know. I don't think it's a slam dunk. Like I seen ESPN. Everybody picked the Ravens. I seen, you know, what was the Fox crew? The first everybody picked the Ravens. It's just like, man, I don't know. I'm just these kind of games. I love it because I want the Lions to prove me right. You know what I'm saying? That they are a good team. This is not uh uh Rod Marinelli coaching the Lions. This ain't Steve Mariucci coaching the Lions. This ain't Jeff Garcia at quarterback, man. This ain't John Kitna at quarter. You know what I'm saying? It just all of that past stuff still comes to creep back when we lose a game, when we lost to the Green Bay Packers, and now we face some adversity, and now everybody wants to say we're not good enough.
Well, you know, in the NFL, you only as good as your
That's
last
true. That's
performance,
true.
man. It's not like in basketball where you got five. You might have what a
Yeah.
back to back in basketball where you get all right. We got a game. We got another game tomorrow night against the New York Knicks. We just lost to the Bulls by 15. You don't have 7 days or you don't have 4 days to let that loss just
Yeah.
fester in your brain.
Yeah.
You know the way football fans do. But I want to ask you something. So as tough as I think the NFC is going to
Mhm.
be this year, and I was telling somebody the other day, the NFC take a lot of flack. I understand that the AFC has the better quarterbacks, but the NFC has the better teams, and I've been saying that for the
Yeah.
last couple years. AFC got the figureheads, they got the quarterbacks, but I think the NFC has the better teams. Um, Therefore, I think it's going to be critical for us to sweep the NFC North. I think if we beat Baltimore Monday, there's no reason why we shouldn't beat Cleveland. We shouldn't beat Cincinnati, who doesn't even know who the hell their
Mhm.
quarterback is going to be and has no defense. And granted, we don't know what Pittsburgh is going to look like later on in the season, but we're better than Pittsburgh. I feel comfortable saying that we're better than Pittsburgh. I believe we need those 5 wins in our pocket. The same way that we swept the AFC South
Mhm.
last year.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not sure if we're gonna beat Minnesota twice. We should beat
Yeah.
Chicago twice. Um, the best we can hope for now is a split with Green Bay. You got a big time emotional game coming up against Philadelphia later on in the
Yeah.
season. You got the Bucks.
The
The
Monday
Bucks are a
night game.
rival, even though they play in
That's a
another
Monday night.
division. Yeah, even though they play in
Yeah.
another division, the Bucks they are a rival. We've been playing the Bucks every year, damn near for the
Yeah.
past what
Yeah.
7 seasons
4 or 5
almost.
seasons.
Seems
Yep.
like
And the Rams too.
yeah, we played each other in the
Mhm.
playoffs. So they beat us last year. The Bucks are a rival. I was arguing with somebody at work the other day about that. Oh, the Bucks ain't a rival. What you mean? They ain't the Packers or Bears. Like, you can have a rival
Yeah,
within
of
your
course.
conference. It don't have to just be a team that's in your division. The
Yep,
Rams
Rams
are a
rival
rival.
too.
Now they became our rival for a different reason. But yeah, we've been playing the Rams tough. They done had some emotional games, whatnot. You want to leave yourself some type of wiggle room. Beat the teams that you should beat. Step on the teams that you should step on. There shouldn't be no playing around with Cleveland. There shouldn't be no playing around with Cincinnati. We should be able to beat Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and that's another reason why I feel like we need to go ahead and sweep the AFC North, because once you start talking about the back end of the season, or like over the next few weeks after the Kansas City game, you're talking about tiebreakers. You don't want to lose a tiebreaker to Tampa Bay. You don't want to lose one to Dallas, even though Dallas may not ultimately be in the playoff mix or whatever, but tiebreakers with the Rams, tiebreaker with Green Bay. You're talking about a tiebreaker with Philly potentially. So if you do drop a game or two here within the NFC, you want to have those 5 wins in your back pocket. I truly believe. Now, Kansas City, I don't make that much of beating those AFC teams unless you're talking about potential Super Bowl matchups for that matter. I'm more so focused on our division and our conference. But who knows, man? This team may be better off going on the road. They only played on the road once in this regime, and that was at San Francisco. They had a playoff game at home against Tampa. The Rams were at home. The Commander lost, of course, last year was at home. So, yeah, I just think that when we look ahead in the schedule, because we all look ahead, the players talk about how they don't look ahead. They look ahead.
You think
they look ahead.
This is the Lions team that they scored on Ben Johnson last week, and they got that interception, and they did the whole celebration with the stumble bum play. That tell you right there the team got receipts, man. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is they hear people saying that they not good enough to beat the Ravens. They know that they was that young team that the Ravens beat 3 years ago. They was all young players. You know what I'm saying? And they see that. And I think with this team, this is a marquee matchup on their schedule. They're gonna show up and play. I don't think that 38-6 is not. It's gonna be leaps and bounds. Even if we don't win the game, I'm just saying I don't think Walt is gonna. I'd be shocked if we lose by more than 10 points. I'd be shocked. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's gonna be a highly competitive game. I really do, because for everybody that wants to push back and say that, okay, well, the Ravens are the Ravens, and that's a lazy take. Give me a reason why. Give me a reason why not. I'm not talking about Ray Lewis. I'm not talking about Lamar Jackson MVP 2 seasons. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about right here, right now on September 22nd, 2025. Tell me why the Ravens are going to beat the Lions. Give me a good. You know what I'm saying? Don't say the history. Don't say because it's in Baltimore we don't play well. That's just not. I believe that our offense is better. Their quarterback is better than ours, but I think all around our offense is better than the Ravens. We're going to give them some problems, and that's just how I feel about it. We got 6 guys they got to worry about. They got on their offense. Okay, if you want to put Mark Andrews in there, I think Isaiah Likely's questionable. I had the injury report up. I think he was questionable. And then Patrick Ricard, their fullback, which I like Patrick Ricard, the veteran, is questionable. Offensive line at left tackle, they got Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley's good, but he might be a shell of himself. Okay. Andrew Voorhees, a guy I think from USC. I think wasn't he from USC?
Yeah, that was the guy that tore his didn't he tear his ACL bench pressing at the combine or something, and then came back with finished his whole set though with a torn ACL.
Yep, and they got Tyler Linderbaum at center, which I like. I think he's from Iowa, right? Did he come from Iowa? Yeah, Linderbaum's solid, like him.
Tyler.
This is where the situation is going to be a situation on the right side. Walt Daniel Faele, I know he ain't that good. He ain't that good. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And then Roger Rosengarten, veteran guy, you can get around him. everybody that wants to name all these players, because I've heard it this week. I mean, I'm like I said, well, I'm not talking to you. It's just I'm talking to what I've heard all week. For everybody that says they got a great roster, Lions do too. Lions got we got just as many good Pro Bowl players on our roster than just like them. They got Kyle Hamilton, we got Branch and Kirby Joseph. Okay, they got the quarterback. We got Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff is not Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I would rather have Lamar Jackson, of course. You know what I'm saying? But I think the team around, they got King Henry. Well, we got Montgomery and Gibbs. Now, I think this is the game. Remember, I said last week I thought David Montgomery is obsolete until they figure out. He's like that old 2015 Dodge Dart.
I don't think you can be obsolete this Sunday. I mean, this Monday.
Right. That's what I was trying to make a point. That 2015 Dodge Dart or 2018 that you can't get parts for, right? But it still look good. You know what I'm saying? You can still, do an oil change in your driveway and stuff like that cheaper. I think now David Montgomery, he's going to come into play in this game, man. And if he gets going, I think that's going to be a situation. So that's all. I mean, that's my worry. I mean, listen, the Ravens can go out there and beat the Lions by 20, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be wrong about it, but I just feel good about this game this week,
All right, so let's get into some keys to victory. I'm going to bring up something that Corey just mentioned in the comment section. Do you guys think defensively we can apply some pressure to them so our DBs ain't covering forever? They do have Andrews and Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews. I do think we should match up offensively. That's my only worry.
Yeah.
Me and you talked about this early in the week. I think that our linebackers are going to really earn their money this game because that's what it is. Lamar Jackson, he puts so much second-level pressure on your linebackers. Also with Derrick Henry. And I believe that's when teams ultimately get railroaded by Baltimore, that's always where it starts. They destroy your linebackers at the second level. If it ain't Derrick Henry, it's them running draws or traps or delays with Lamar. And now you're talking about a situation where even if you have corners who can match up on the perimeter, it don't matter if everybody's beat up. And this goes back to what I think one of our keys to victory is going to be offensively. Yeah, you can score probably on Baltimore as much as you want to. I've seen how bad that run defense has been. I've seen how bad they've been against the pass. I don't think you necessarily want to just play bombs away with Baltimore and just keep giving Lamar Jackson extra possessions too. I think it's going to be a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of sideline to sideline offense. Therefore, also you want to kind of pick and choose when you use Jameer. I may end up, and this is just me, I would probably showcase Montgomery a little bit more in this game because I want more 4-yard runs. I want more 5-yard runs. I want more hammer. Kill the clock. You want to win time of possession against Baltimore too. You don't want to get into a ping pong game back and forth scoring. You scoring 5 plays, they come back, they scoring 2 plays. You come back, you scoring in 7 plays, they come you don't want that. You do want to play the time of possession game. I also believe with Baltimore because any team that has a great quarterback, you want him on the field. I mean, you want him on the sideline as much as possible. You don't want Josh Allen to have a bunch of possessions. You don't want Patrick Mahomes to get a bunch of possessions. You want to limit Baltimore's possessions as much as possible, which also, when you play in the time of possession game, keeps the defense healthy, keeps the defense fresh. But who's going to match up with Mark Andrews or any tight end? Because they still do love to utilize their tight ends a lot. Of course, with a running quarterback, with a quarterback who can run, you're gonna have a lot more traps, delays, a lot more offensively in regards to the run game. But who's going to get out there and really be responsible for him? Because personally, you do want to spy Lamar Jackson, but there's nobody out there in that linebacking core that can spy Lamar Jackson. Let's be honest about it. Let's be completely honest about it. As much as I like Jack Campbell, Jack ain't matching up with Lamar Jackson. No line. There's maybe 2 or 3 linebackers in the league athletically who can at least somewhat keep up and give some type of a pressure on Lamar. But for me, what I think they should do, because Davenport's gone, and we don't really want to mention Davenport too much. I think Davenport's done.
Yeah.
with this team. I've mentally moved on. I feel the same way you feel in regards to that. If as much as I may like you as a person and as a player, because when he's on the field, he's big, he's
Yep.
athletic, and he's dominant. But the same things that annoyed him in his last presser before the season started, with fans asking him about injuries, bro, like, this is why.
Mhm.
You couldn't even give us 2 full games.
Right.
So now it's like, okay, you know what? I like what Tyleik Williams has done on the interior. And John Jansen on 97.1 The Ticket a couple days ago made a valid point about Tyleik Williams. He feels that Tyleik could do
Yeah.
more, but it's the fact that he's not allowed to move around in freelance as much as he was at
Yep.
Ohio State. They've got a straight set of plays. Well, not necessarily a set of plays, but they have a certain amount of things that they want him responsible for. Now, can he grow behind that? Hopefully. But right now, his job is to eat up double teams on the interior so we can get pressure on the outside, but we still not getting pressure on the outside. They need to figure out, is Branch gonna play closer
I
to the
think
line of
so.
scrimmage? Because if you're talking about anybody that can somewhat match up with Lamar, you might as well make it Branch. Now that puts more cover one, and I was talking about this the other day. I would probably play more cover one against Lamar, because if you play as much cover three against him as we probably want to do, I wouldn't want to do it. But as much as they want to do, what is it, Lamar and Joe Burrow? I believe Lamar and Joe Burrow the last 2 seasons have been the number 1 and number 2 rated quarterbacks in the NFL
Yeah.
against cover three. They completely destroy it. I don't think any of those wide receivers they have, Zay
He
Flowers can
can make
get
some
deep.
plays, but
I don't value it, but I don't value their
nope.
downfield
They got
attack as much
Hopkins.
at all.
Hopkins to
So
sit
yeah,
down in the coverage. You know what I'm saying? They got him. Rashad Bateman never, he don't scare me at all. So I think it'd be, man. Then if we can get a turnover or two, would be paramount, man. I think that's always cliche, to always say that, part of the equation. But yeah, whoever doesn't turn the ball over, you know what I'm saying? And I think that Lamar was on cruise control the last time we played. So I just think the Lions are a way different team than we were when we lost that game by 30 in Baltimore 2 years ago. People still talking about that game 2 years ago. So I think it has no
yeah,
bearing on what happens Monday night. Tell me this. Now, and I like where you're going with the Dave Montgomery. I really like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that, like you said, this is a game where you want to be able to make Lamar Jackson be on the sideline, man. You do. You know what I'm saying? To kind of control the possession, dink and dunk. We know Goff is the king at that, 10-yard passes, in a cloud of dust, that type of thing. So I I really do believe, only reason I'm not confident, because Ragnow and Zeitler's not in. I was gonna say we could beat them in both ways if we play track meet style, or we could run the ball on them guys. Now, I don't know. That's the only question mark I got in this game. But I think that the Lions are more than capable of going in there and winning the game. I'd be if we had just our offensive line from last year, I would really say it, dude. This is a no-brainer for me. I'm picking the Lions, but yeah, I think it makes it interesting. But as the Lions are sorting out their offensive line, and how to be dominant and how to get back to playing Lions football, I think the same can be said for the Ravens, because I'm looking up their injury report. They got 2 guys that's hurt. One of their pass rushers
yeah.
is hurt, and Nate Wiggins is hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, and I see a bunch of guys. They do got Mike Green, a guy from Marshall that was much maligned in the draft process, and guy seems like he plays with some anger. So I do like Mike Green. You know what I mean? That's a guy you don't want to let him take the game over if you're the Lions offense. So, man, it's going to be a good game. Well, I really do. I'm kind of excited about the game. Like you said, it haven't been really, Alliance hasn't been, um, like you said, it hasn't been no buzz about this game. 'Cause like you said, I think kind of Lions fans, which I'm surprised, seem like they kind of scared to say something, man. You know what I mean? It's like, or they just chalking it up as a
Yeah.
loss. That's all. I think they're saying, well, we're not good enough this year. Lamar's going to run, 3 or 4
Yeah.
touchdowns.
But they're not
Eh,
saying nothing at all. They've been
Quiet.
uncharacteristically
Yeah.
tight-lipped
Right.
all week. Like they don't want, they worried about ruffling Baltimore or whatever. Or, I don't want to get too out of hand with my predictions. Like it's ridiculous. Like if you believe this team is a Super Bowl
Right.
contending team, you
No
should have no
question.
question. Even if you feel like they're going to lose, you can be
I'm not
able to
afraid
say
to
it.
be
But
wrong.
like
I
you
think a
said,
lot of people in
right?
social media, it's ridiculous how far that this has come that we can't even um be wrong about something wrong. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I consider you great at what you do. Okay, you're an amazing scout. You want to. I will put you up against anybody, and that's God's honest truth. And
Man,
and
I
you really know
appreciate
what the
that,
hell you're
man.
talking about. Then that's no cap. You really do. You know what I'm saying? Now, out of
So do you.
now,
That's why I
Walt,
talk to
if
you.
you now, Walt, I put you now. I'm gonna tell you this: when you tell me something about a player, and you say, dude, look at this guy. This. I noticed this, that. You do it all the time. 9 times out of 10, you're right. 9 times out of 10, you're right. The one time you could be wrong, though. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying you missed it or you
Yeah.
now you're not good at what you do because you know what I'm saying, you didn't predict 1 out of 10 right. You know what I mean? And so for me, I'm picking the Lions, man. I mean, I just think that but now the down during the season, um, do I think now when it comes to Thanksgiving, right? Like let's just say when we get down, like people say, "Oh, well, you're gonna pick the Lions every week. They're not gonna go 17 and no." Of course, I'm not. Next time we play Green Bay, I'm gonna say the Packers are better. You know what I'm saying? Unless they get a catastrophic injury and Jordan Love is out, or you know what I'm saying. So the Lions are not my pick every game, but I just think that this game, I think that it sets up well for us to have a good showing. That's all. You know what I mean? What's the money line? Plus 185. That's where I'm putting my money. I'm telling everybody I'm dropping $20 this week on the money line. I think it'll win you $62, I think. So drop 20. I'm dropping 20 on the Lions to win the game outright, plus 185. You know, the Ravens, obviously, they're the betting favorite, minus 225 on the money line. And then two Walt take, and I think there's another great analysis by you. You expect to be high scoring. So does Vegas. 53.5 is the top number for any game this weekend. You know what I'm saying? So Vegas feels the same way like you do. You know what I'm saying? Well, like it's going to be high scoring. 53.5 is the highest total this week for any NFL game. So it's going to be exciting. I'm really excited for the game, man. I'm really excited. Um, the Ravens are going to do some good things during the game. The Lions are going to do some good. I think it's going to be a chess match. I think it's going to be tight early just to kind of get our feet up under us. You know what I'm saying? If we go out there, Jared Goff turns the ball over early or something like that, then you throw everything out the window that I just said. You know what I'm saying? We got to take care of football. That's number one. You know, now getting in a shootout with the Ravens, like you said, I don't know. There we go. Don't put 400. I'm putting $20. That's all I got. I'm putting 20. Don't put 400, bro. Tuba, don't do it. But yeah, it just like the more I look into the game, Walt, and I get this from you. I mean, because rub off on me on this football stuff. As much as I look at the X's and O's, I look at the personnel, I look at who's on each side of the ball. I just think more and more I look into it. I think the Lions got a chance. That's all.
No, I get it. You ain't got to explain it. It's your thought process. Is the way you
Yeah.
visualize it. So, um, I'm going to go with Detroit to win the game. I'm going to take the under. I got 27-24 Detroit. I could honestly see it being one of those down to the fourth
Mm-hmm.
quarter games, walk off field goal type of situation, something late to really
Yeah.
close the game out. I agree 100%. I think this isn't the team. Of course, this isn't the same team that went to Baltimore and got
Yeah.
destroyed 2 years ago. Gibbs is
Yeah.
a vet now. Um, if I'm not mistaken, Jamo didn't play in. Did he play in that
Jameson
game?
Wood, no, I think he was suspended. I think, right? I think he was if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was early in the season too, and I think he was serving the suspension for the gambling thing. I think. Mhm.
Yeah. But Aaron Glenn ain't there either, and neither has Ben Johnson. So
A lot
there's
of
a lot of
differences, man. A lot
differences.
of differences. Yeah.
um, McDonald, the defensive coordinator, he's no
Yeah.
longer there. And we talked about this earlier in the show. Like the defensive struggles the Ravens have had this season so far, and I do understand majority of those issues that they've had that came in week 1 against Buffalo. They were having some of those same
Yeah.
issues last year. You know, McDonald's gone, if I'm not mistaken, Michael Pierce, the nose tackle, he's not there anymore. And their entire pass rush was constructed around him at the zero and the one tech. But I agree. I think this is a much better Detroit team, a better version of what they were 2 years
Yeah.
ago, of course. They expect to win these types of games. They relish these types of
Yeah.
moments. Baltimore, they haven't been able to get stops at
Yeah.
all against any team other than Cleveland,
Yeah.
for that matter. And this is an offense that Baltimore, they're not used to seeing. And I get it, and I understand Detroit, we're not used to seeing Lamar Jackson. So
Yeah.
maybe that's part of it. Because if you look at a lot of AFC teams, even the weaker AFC teams, they tend to play Lamar better than NFC teams do. Because even though I may be terrible, I still play this
Yeah.
man twice a year, or I still play this man once a year. So I know what to expect for Lamar Jackson. But the same way people say, well, Detroit only sees Baltimore every 4 years or every 3 years or whatever, which is different now. The NFL schedules whatever the hell they want. Because remember, we used to play these AFC teams once every
Yeah.
4 years. It ain't been 4 years since we played Baltimore. But I agree. I think Detroit wins the game. I'm going to take the under with the 53.5. I'm also going to, I don't think Detroit covers that 4.5, but I do think they win the
Yeah.
game outright. And I'll agree with you also on the money line. But I want to ask you something. I want to get your opinion on this real quick because this is news that came out early in the week. I'm surprised nobody mentioned this in the comment section. So, all right, coming from the Detroit Free Press. All right, so you got the Detroit Lions defensive tackle Lee McNeil is on track to return from his torn ACL, having recently shifted from
Yeah.
rehabilitation to training. He is reportedly doing very well and is ahead of schedule in his recovery, with the team expecting him to return sometime in November, though his official return to practice is
Yeah.
still pending final clearance from the team's medical staff. Now, an ACL injury for a 330-pound man or a 320-pound man is different for a corner, is different for a wide receiver. This man squats and explodes for a living. Everything he does is predicated off
Yeah.
balance, base, and explosion. Considering we initially heard that this guy wouldn't be back until early November, maybe the second week of November, to now I heard people saying, well, he could have played this week, which I
Yeah.
think is ridiculous. But what do you think about what you heard this week so far in regards to him? Because I think it's great news. But once again, not to compare him to Davenport, but I'm not getting excited about you coming back. I'm excited about you playing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13
Right.
straight games. I need to see you
Right.
on the field because when Aleem is on the field, he's proven to be unblockable. But we need you on the field. Like, that's the whole thing. If we don't have any edge rushers, we better be dynamite as hell on the interior. I need Aleem, DJ Reader, and Tyleek Williams to wreak havoc
That's
all
right.
season. So what are your thoughts on what you heard
Yeah,
earlier
couldn't
in this
said it
week?
better myself. I was thinking the same thing, just what you said. I just don't want to rush him back too early. You know what I'm saying? Just don't, to me, because he even made a comment saying if it was like a do or die game, he would be in there. You know what I'm saying? He would have practiced. If,
What the
if
hell are you gonna do? You ain't played
yeah, yeah,
football in a year. What are you gonna do in a do or
yeah,
die
yeah.
game though?
So yeah,
Like it's
I like the pad though. I like that he's ready to get out there, but my opinion is at least wait till after the
oh
bye.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I think after the Monday night game, we got a bye, if I'm not mistaken, in October.
bring them
Yeah,
back
I
against
mean,
Baltimore. Not Baltimore,
Minnesota.
because Minnesota.
Yep,
So we got
yep.
the
I
bye
love
week
it,
8.
man. I love it. Lee McNeil been one of our favorite players since he's been, on that defensive line. I just want him to right, Corey, just exactly right. You don't want him to just be too fit because we've had such bad luck in the injury department the last 2 years. You don't,
Right.
so any good news you hear about a player getting recovery, it's good to see Aiden Hutchinson out there. And I think that's another thing I didn't mention. You know, the first 2 games, I hear people getting on Aiden a little bit, and it's like you got to give him a chance to kind of get his feet up under him too. I mean, that's the only thing I'm
People
gonna
are
just
idiots,
say that
man.
and
People
defend
are
Aiden
idiots.
Hutchinson, man. You know what I'm saying? And this could be the game. this line they playing against is tailor made. They're gonna give up a couple sacks. I mean, I just believe I don't know who the sack's gonna come from. If now,
Lamar
yeah,
is an
he is.
escape
Now let's
artist
just
now.
say, and now that's gonna be the key to the game. If now if Lamar gets out of the pocket and we don't get no sacks, then we know what the end result's going to be in this game. You know what I'm saying? But I'm hanging my hat on, man. We can at least get some type of pressure up the middle, or some disguise, some blitzes or something, and our guys stay home, man. Like you said, this is going to be the most disciplined that our team has ever, and let's be honest, on the Lamar Jackson points, I'm giving Lamar Jackson some points. He is a dynamic player. It's hard as hell to game plan for him. How in the world do you game plan for Lamar Jackson? You know what I'm saying? You can't, you only can to an extent, but he makes you ad lib and do things that you're not comfortable doing. And like you said, unless you got a linebacker that can run with them, but it's very few that can. So yeah, I really do believe that this game will come down to you taking the under. I'm gonna take the over. I think it's gonna be over the 53 too. I really do. Like I said, I think the line's gonna win the game outright, and it's gonna be over game. I think it's gonna be high scoring. Just like Brent said, I'm kind of in that neighborhood. I was thinking the same thing, Brent, like 35-31 or something like that. Very entertaining. I think it's gonna be a good game this week. I really do.
Definitely. All right, we got about 10 minutes left, man. Let's get to 4 games that you and I wanted to both discuss. At least from a betting standpoint, you got Rams at Eagles, Philadelphia, -3.5, over under 44.5. You got a money line, LA plus 154, Philadelphia -185. I'm actually taking the Rams to win the game outright. I think this is what you go through as the Philadelphia Eagles. You made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. You lost to Kansas City. You come back. You had a disappointing season, sort of the year that year after, kind of stumbled up and down. Come back, win the Super Bowl this past year, 2024. So now you're everybody's Super Bowl.
Right.
You're gonna get everybody's best effort. The Rams feel like they let one get away in the playoffs against you. If it wasn't for that fumble, that game could have went differently. The Rams, in the snow, in the cold, the Rams still had a good opportunity to win that game. I think the Rams bounced back. They done had it out for the Eagles for a while. Like I said, this is their game right here. I'm going to go with the under. I think both defenses are going to show up well. Philadelphia doesn't pass the ball as well as they would like to, or as well as you would expect them to with those weapons, those wide receivers they got over there. I for damn sure don't believe that with as small and athletic as the Rams defensive front is, that front seven is, I don't see Jalen Hurts having a lot of success against them passing the ball, neither running the ball as well. He doesn't run the ball as much, but they can run the ball on the Rams.
That's right.
I think that's a very likely possibility. That's why they approached last year's playoff game the way they did against them. But I think the Rams are due. I think the Rams are due for Philadelphia. I think there's about 3 teams in the NFC, I believe, that can legitimately beat Philadelphia. Now, those teams have to actually prove it on the field, and that being Tampa Bay, that being Detroit, and that being Rams. But like I said, I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to take them to not them to but I'm going to take the Rams to win the game, and I'm also going to take the under on those points. I can see it being a tight, hard-fought game.
No, I agree. Totally agree. Only thing I agree, I got the Eagles, but I do think it's going to be an under game. I really do. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. If it was in LA, I would take the Rams. I totally agree with everything you said. The Rams are definitely in a contender, top team in NFC. I love the Rams. I just not this week, just because I just think that the Eagles' offensive line will probably control the game. If they're able to control the game, then I think they win the game with Saquon Barkley. That, like you said, that formula worked last year, all the way to the Super Bowl. And the Rams are way more capable, offensively of getting going. I think with their receivers more so than the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like they got to set up the play action with Kyron Williams, the Rams do, and kind of get Puka, Devontae Adams involved. I love the Rams, but like I said, the Eagles this week, I'm gonna take them to not cover though. I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be an under. I think the Rams are going to keep this like 17-14 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Remember, you lose by 3, you don't win the bet. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's going to be one of them type of games. Eagles going to win. So
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We got Jets at Bucks. Very interesting game. Tampa Bay, they gutted out 2 wins with the last possession. Yeah, last possession win over Atlanta, and then you got a last possession win at Houston this past Monday night. So they've been kind of flying close to the sun themselves. They come back home for a this is their home opener.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I think the Bucks are a very good team. Very good team. Defensively, I think they're going to be elite. You can question whether or not the cornerback play is up to par for a full long 17-game season. That's it. I think the run defense is elite. The linebacking core isn't as star-studded as it used to be, but it meshes well with that defensive front and what they like to do. Also, you look at the Tampa offensively. I think the offensive line is solid. They're going to be even better once they get their tackle back. I like that wide receiving core with Mike. Even though Mike Evans is getting a little longer than 2, Mike Evans can still make plays. But you can watch Tampa over the first 2 weeks and see that they're slowly they're slowly started to transition the offense towards Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah.
You know, and which makes sense. And Mike Evans seems to go along with it. He's a guy who plans on being a Buck for life. You got Godwin. I like their stable of running backs
Irvin,
too.
Man. Oh man,
That Tampa's got.
This is a very good team, man. The Bucks.
And then the Jets are what? Your boy in concussion protocol, Jalen. I'm about to call him Jalen Hurts. He looked terrible last week. He looked really good the week before though against Pittsburgh. I don't trust the Jets right now. Aaron Glenn, as much as I'm pulling for Aaron Glenn, he over there in the AFC. He's no threat to us. I think he's got his growing pains he has to go through. Remember, our head coach cried during year 1. He went that 3-13-1. Our head coach cried in front of the media. It gets rough, man. They started that season 0-6, 0-7, something like that. So man, that doesn't mean that Aaron or Ben Johnson can't move on and be damn good head coaches, but man, you got to feel the pain a little bit in the very beginning, man. And I don't see, unless the Bucks just go out there in the home opener and lay a complete egg. I think that's the only way the Jets win this game. I got the Bucks winning, and I got the Bucks covering that 6.5.
Me too. Everything you just said, man. You know, I'm a Justin Fields guy. You know, that's my guy, man. And I think that he finally may be in the right spot. It sucks that he's out. Because even if he played, I think I would still take the Bucks. I think without him, I think they, like you said, the Bucks don't cover that 6.5. That's a lot of points, but it's at home. Home opener. Bucks are a juggernaut, man. I think Baker Mayfield has had the biggest comeback other than Jared Goff in his career, just resurrected his career and what he was when he first came. You know, what state would Cleveland be in right now if they would have just hung on to Baker Mayfield and kept it around them? But they're a mess, man. So
they dumped the good woman for the pretty prostitute.
Right.
To say the least.
Now they see the good woman with another marriage. If she married, she happy now. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't make her happy. So, yeah, I think the Bucks are Super Bowl contender. I really do. I think that this team, like you said, offense, defense, Bucky Irvin, that offense, man, they're good. You know what I'm saying? And I think that they really have transformed into now, oh, man, they can really win. Todd Bowles, the defensive coach, has really turned
that quarterback's a playmaker too.
That Monday night game in a month when we play Tampa at home at Monday night is going to be a great game. You know, just thinking, gotta get
down there, man. We gotta get down there for that. That's what I've been saying since all season. That's one game I did want to go to.
It's gonna be wild, man. But yeah, just what you said. I think it's gonna be no point. I think Tyrod Taylor, and just what Brent just said, just going to piggyback what you said about Aaron Glenn. I'm really rooting for Aaron Glenn. Like I said, class act. But like I said, this year gonna be tough. And you know what? The defense is kind of they got names. You know, Quentin Williams has made some plays, but you know they got Sauce Gardner,
He's not the
but they're
same
not the
player he used to
same,
be
man.
either.
I've been on the Jets for 2 years because I love the defense, but I'm done. They, you know what I'm saying? The Jets they gonna have a hard, they're gonna have a rough season, man. Rough season. So yeah,
What'd you think about the over
what
under?
is it over under on that one?
Let me bring it back
Yeah,
up for you. I believe it was 43.
yeah,
Yeah,
43.
43
Yeah,
and a half.
I think I'm going under. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. You got Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. They might not even score. They might not even score a touchdown, bro. It's gonna be like 27-3 or something like that. I think, or a late touchdown, make it 27-10 or something like that. But yeah, I'm taking the under and the Bucks to cover.
All right. Let's move on. This right here, man. I've been going back and forth this game for
Yeah,
about 3 days.
yeah,
The Texans don't look
yeah.
good at all. Um, at all. What are they 0-2 now?
They,
No, no,
yeah, they
yeah, they
own
lost
two.
to the Rams. So yeah, 0-2, heading on the road to play a divisional opponent. 1.5 points. We always know these divisional games, let alone the
Yeah,
AFC South game. Jazz can beat Texans. Texans can beat the Colts. Uh, the Titans can beat the Jags. All of these four teams can beat each other. The way I feel about Houston, Houston's not as good as I thought they were
mhm,
2 years ago. They've regressed a lot. Some of it, CJ Stroud. But the thing is this, man. When your team is winning and you're putting up points, you're putting up big numbers, they give you all the credit. When the team is struggling, people can look at your team and say, it ain't him, it's X, Y,
mhm.
and Z. But as the quarterback, you're the figurehead, they're going to still blame you for it. I don't particularly do that for him. I do think that he looks a little more skittish in the pocket. He doesn't look that comfortable. CJ also can't get out and move too much. You would assume that CJ Stroud can move. He's never been a mover like that, even
Yeah,
since Ohio State. CJ is a pocket passer who needs a clean pocket. And that offensive line has been bad, to say the least, the last
that's
couple
right.
years, man. Jacksonville, on the other hand, they've been in these couple games the first couple weeks. I still think they're trying to figure things out. If Houston's going to get back on track, it needs to happen against Jacksonville. I'm going to take Jacksonville to win this game, honestly, though, and cover that 1.5, meaning they can win by
Hmm.
a field goal. And I got Jacksonville winning 22 to
Okay,
19.
okay. Yeah, I hate the Jags. I do, man. I hate everything about.
What did
I,
they do
I,
to you, man? They just over there in Florida
only thing
minding their
I
business.
like Brian Thomas Jr. He on my fantasy team, so I hope. Yeah,
He's
he's
struggling
struggling
like
like
hell
hell
too.
because I picked him on my fantasy team, but I would never take the Jaguars ever in no scenario. I'm taking Houston all the way. I think they're gonna get out it off the schneid and drop a bomb on this team, man. I think Texas way too and if they don't, well, I can see the Jacks winning, like you said. I can see them winning the game, but I just can't take them. I don't trust them at all. But like you said, man, if the Texans go 0-3, do with all of that talent on defense, man, they got problems, dude. You know what I'm saying? They wait,
The defense been
yeah.
okay.
The
It's the
offense, yeah, the
offense.
offense. I agree. CJ Stroud seemed like he's regressed a little bit. But I'm I'm giving the Texans a shot. I'm gonna take them this week. I think it will be over the 43 points too. I think it's gonna be a lot of points in this game. Jacksonville, nice weather, outside grass, fast track, stuff like that. Gonna come into play. I think it's gonna be an entertaining game. Travis Etienne's been running the ball pretty good the first couple games for the Jags. So, like you said, that hasn't been the problem. Trevor Lawrence just irritates the hell out of me, man. Really big time. I can't do it. I can't root for him, man. So I'm taking Houston and the over on this one.
All right, let's move on to another very intriguing 1.5 point game, and that's the
Uh-huh.
Chicago Bears hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Bears 0-2 right now under Ben Johnson. Dallas Cowboys are 1-1. The defense played somewhat okay week 1 against Philadelphia, and that loss. Week 2, they got lit up by Malik Neighbors and Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
crucially. so it's funny. It's weird because one of two things I believe is going to happen in this game. Either the Bears going to offensively
Mhm.
figure it out against Dallas and have a big game, or they're going to continue to struggle. Bears fans are going to pull their hair out. Dallas is going to get the 2-1, and the Bears are going to be buried after 3 weeks. I went back and forth this game as well. The Bears, to me, man, like defensively, they were okay
Yeah.
week 1 in that loss to Minnesota, but you were also going up against JJ McCarthy in his very first career start. So that's neither here nor there. You take that pick 6 out of the way. They offensively, what did you really do in
Yeah.
that game? Just holding it for what it is, man. I'm gonna take Dallas, even though Dallas still has issues
Mhm.
stopping the run. Bears not gonna
Yeah.
run the ball. Like, let's be honest about it. Like, they look weird as hell offensively. Like, the teams that you should try to run the ball against, you don't give a damn about running the ball with them. It's almost as if Ben Johnson has some kind of point to prove with Caleb Williams right now. Like, I'm gonna turn this guy around, and I said he's better than Jared, so I got to prove that he's better than Jared. That guy ain't looking better than
Yeah.
Jared right now. The defense is struggling. Um, the offensive line play hasn't been as bad as they tried to make it out to be. I think Caleb is just terrible from
Mhm.
the pocket. He's been bailing on clean pockets. He ain't got to do all that struggling and rolling outside the tackle box that he does. That's part of what he is. He's a backyard
Yeah.
type of quarterback. I also think that he can't see too well in the pocket. That's something else I noticed with him. He's not Kyler Murray short, but the quarterbacks that are like 6 foot. Remember how Drew Brees used to stand on his tippy
Yeah.
toes in the pocket
Yeah.
with his head up
Mhm.
all the time? Yeah, but he couldn't run either, but he figured out a way to make it work
Yeah.
from the pocket. Caleb doesn't seem to be able to figure out a way to make it work from the pocket. Dak can make it work from the
Yeah.
pocket.
That's right.
And I like Dallas offensive line better against Chicago. I'm taking Dallas to win that game
Mhm.
outright, man.
Okay. I got you. I got you on that.
You betting on the Bears, but not the
Yeah.
Jags?
Yep.
You betting on the
I know. I know.
Bears?
This is gonna come back to haunt me. And trust me, I'm with you on the Cowboys. I think they got better by subtraction. I think that they're a team that we could look at maybe in a couple of years and say the Cowboys did the right thing, man, and built a team up correctly. You know what I'm saying? And their offensive line, like you said, is already decent. Offensively, they're there. It just with Cowboys, they just got to get some more talent. I think offensively, I think that's the problem a little bit, and defensively, both sides of the ball. The only reason why I'm going to pick the Bears, I know, broken to me, right? The only reason why I'm going to pick the Bears because I think the season on the line. If they go 0-3, it's over. You know, the season. I mean, even though you got,
Man, it
I'm
been
saying,
over.
if
Them boys ain't never had no
yeah,
chance in our
I'm
division.
saying,
You know
even though you
that?
got 14 games to play, and you can say, well, how can you say 0-3
Yeah,
is over? If they lose the Cowboys,
it's over.
so the season on the line, I think this thing could really turn ugly in Chicago. They're gonna turn on Caleb. Some people already have turned on him. What is his record? 5-14, I think, as a starter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's 5-14 as a starting quarterback. I'm picking the Bears. Like I said, I don't feel confident. Only reason why I'm going off that, I just feel that the season on the line. Everybody's feeling the pressure in Chicago, and they could be looking at another 5-win season, man. If they don't win this game, man, you know I think Cowboys in way better shape,
Man,
like the organization as a whole. I, I'm just gonna give them a win. Like I said, it's weird because like you said, we've seen both these teams play the first two games, and Dallas is the better team right now after two games. If you look at the two games Dallas played and the two games Bears played, has had a better showing. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it seems like that's Dak Prescott too. What I like about him is he's way more comfortable doing what he's doing. The Caleb Williams is not comfortable yet. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? He's got all the talent in the world. You can see it. You know what I'm saying? But man, it just doesn't in high pressure situations or if the lights are big with Caleb Williams, man, it just seems like he hasn't figured it out yet. And I don't know when that's going to happen with a young quarterback. It's tedious, man. I've even heard some rumblings that he could get benched. You know what I'm saying? If they don't turn it around here in the next couple weeks. So, well, I'm gonna pick them. I'm picking the over though. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, a lot of points, but I do think the Bears going to win.
I'm a broken too. What you said, so I'm gonna comment on that for a second, man. If the Bears fall to 0-3, even if it was 0-3 against the AFC, 0-3, you're done. The Bears ain't put together enough or advanced enough to really be a threat in the NFC right now. That's why when I heard people saying that in year one, Ben Johnson was going to take this team to the Super Bowl or they were going to be in the playoffs, I never seen it at all. And if they lose to Dallas, you're talking about having 3 NFC losses before October. You lost to Detroit, you lost to Minnesota, and you lost to Dallas. So it's curtains for Chicago. I think it's curtains for Chicago right now, whether they pull one out against Dallas or not. But 313 says, also Golf helped Ben a lot more than we give Golf credit. Absolutely, absolutely. Broken Tubin says, Walt, tell your Cowboys friends to stop blocking me. Man, listen, if they blocking you, just say that you doing something good. You doing something right. You over there telling some truth. And Broken, you be on here telling the absolute truth. So that's probably what it is. They angry at you for telling the truth about them. But like I said, I just think that, man, Dallas is better. Just hands down right now. The Bears got too much going on. It does kind of feel like they're trying to turn Caleb into a mobile Golf. But at the end of the day, it's his fault because we can all not Ben Johnson, but it's going to be Caleb Williams' fault if this doesn't work out. Because at the end of the day, they invested a lot of money and a lot of resources in Ben Johnson being the savior, being the guy to step in here, save this franchise for themselves, whatever. They'll move on from Caleb before they'll move on from Ben Johnson.
Too.
Hands down. And if he doesn't turn it around this season and start playing well, you already know what's going to happen over the offseason. They can bring in a veteran. They might bring in Jameis Winston or somebody, or Russell Wilson. They're going to bring in a veteran to quote-unquote compete for the job with them. But to me, the issues that Caleb has, I'm not sure if you can even fix them because there's a lot of them are just poor football habits. The same guy he was at Oklahoma, the same guy he was in high school, is the same guy that he was at USC. I'm not comfortable in the pocket. I'm not a timing and rhythm type of quarterback. I'm not a guy that throws with great anticipation. I don't throw people open. I scramble. I make eye-dropping plays. I throw 90-mile-per-hour fastballs at people. I'm not going to throw anybody open. I'm not going to practice any touch on anything. I'm just a big-time difference maker. That's a difference maker when you don't need me to be a difference maker. Like the NFL, man, that's playing outside of the pocket, backyard football. That's only for what? Maybe 10% of being a quarterback. 90% of the time, you have to win upstairs and beat people from the pocket. And to me, those are all the issues I see with Caleb right now. It's funny listening to Bears radio 97. Was it 97.9 every single day? Like those Bears people destroying that organization right now, man. And if you got. But the thing is this too, and for Bears fans that we have that are listening, I just want to say this. I'm gonna throw y'all the bone on this. We weren't great at all our first year. We were 3-13-1. Year 2, we started the season 0-6. And after that, I think after that Miami Dolphin loss, I think that was when people started calling for Dan Campbell to be fired and all this other stuff. If they would have listened to the media around here and fired Dan Campbell, where in the hell would we be right now? We have no idea where this team would be right now. So for Bears fans that are calling for Caleb to be benched, that are saying Ben Johnson's overrated or whatever, I would just say pump your brakes on it a little bit. For the most part, you got to give a guy more than 2 games. Now, am I sold on, or have I ever been sold on Ben Johnson being a damn good head coach? No, because I said this prior to both of them leaving. I felt AG was more head coach material. but I'm not sure if New York can handle or want to handle his personality.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, because AG is a complete no nonsense type of guy. He's gonna tell you, he kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's gonna tell you exactly what he's thinking, and that worked a little bit more
Mhm.
here in more of a blue collar city like Detroit. But if you're talking about the media and how things are ran in New York and being on the front page of the newspaper every single morning for every single call you made or didn't make, and it's rough. It's rough, but both of those guys are in different situations right now. Um, let's hit to some of these comments right quick before we do get out of here. My boy 313 says Golf can't run. His superpower is his intellect. Ben has no idea how to develop a quarterback. Just my opinion. I think there's
Yeah.
some truth to
There's some
that so
truth to that.
far
Yep.
as well. He also says you can't transfer our old playbook to Caleb. Respectfully, he needs
Yeah.
time to learn. That's giving him, and same thing I was saying. But the thing is this, man, the greats, and we got to put him with the greats because you were drafted to be one of the greats. You were a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. Your freshman year at Oklahoma, when you stepped in to replace Spencer Rattler, ineffective Spencer Rattler, you led like a 20-point comeback that game. So the stage was set for Caleb to be this can't miss prospect.
Hmm.
So typically, the can't miss guys, it doesn't take them 2 years to become good.
Yeah.
We were questioning um,
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. We were questioning him 2 years into the league. We've been questioning him the last 2 years in the league. The elite guys doesn't take them 2 years to develop, man. It does. It doesn't take them two head coaches to develop. It doesn't take them three offensive coordinators. Think about this. This man now has had three head coaches and three offensive coordinators in the time that
Yes.
he's been there. Justin Fields had the same exact dysfunction. Three head coaches, three offensive coordinators. So at some time, it can't just keep being the quarterback. It got to be the
Yeah.
organization. I just think that they're not ready for Dallas right now. Dallas playing with a chip on their shoulder too. That defense and that organization wants to prove that they can win without Michael Parsons. They're good without him. I just think Dallas is. I don't think Dallas is great, but I do think Dallas does beat Chicago. What else we got here from the comment section? 313 says, hoping Ben comes back in a few years like
Yeah.
Robert Saleh. If he has to come back as offensive coordinator, that means we had some problems, bro. Brent DeWitt
Yeah.
says, agree, AG knows how to lead men. Ben Johnson still learning how. Corrective 313 also
Doesn't
says,
take long. Yep.
correct. It
You're right.
doesn't take long for the special guys at all. All right, so man, we went through everything. We went through our big five games we wanted to discuss for the day. We went through all the
Yeah.
numbers and whatnot for this Detroit Lions game. Any closing thoughts you want to leave the listeners with?
Yeah. You know what? I would just say before we get out of here, just look for gap assignment for the Lions. Look at containment. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the Lions. I mean, you'll know after the first quarter what kind of game it's going to be. You know what I'm saying, on the Lions side of it. Okay. I think that defensively, if we could just withstand and remember, if the Lions usually if we get a first quarter score at some point, if we score a touchdown at some point in the first quarter, then normally we have success. You know what I'm saying? I think if we get off to a good start, that the stage is not going to be too big for the Lions. It's not, like, oh my God, we playing Monday night. That is, man. This team is locked in. That moment of being on Monday Night Football. Thanks, Brent, for listening, for watching. Appreciate you, and everybody that joined us today. But I just, like I said, I just believe that the Lions gonna be ready to play. So just watch the first quarter nuances. See, defensively what everybody's assignments are. I'm a big proponent of being in the right spot. When you're supposed to, and I think everything will fall into place. The offense will be fine. You know what I mean? So
Yep, I agree. Also, I believe that this team, that play. Well, there's still a lot of players on this roster that was part of that 30-point debacle a couple years ago. First thing Dan Campbell said when he went to the media after that game was they hammered us and they pushed us around. And that was obvious. They pushed us around, they hammered us. When you play Baltimore, you can expect a certain brand of football. They're not dirty, but they physical as hell. They play smart, and they get to the football, and they don't beat themselves. It's going to be rough, I think, heading into Baltimore Monday night. Never being there on a Monday night. That crowd is bananas there. We've seen Baltimore on plenty of Monday nights. I think it's going to come down to, and I agree with what you said, how do you weather the storm? We're going to pretty much know how this game is going to go, I believe, midway through the second quarter. Midway through the second quarter. If we get through the first quarter, it's a 0-0 tie. It's a 7-7 game, a 10-7 game, either way or whatever. Baltimore isn't just moving the ball up and down the field. We got some drive stalling. We seem to have a good game plan for Lamar. I don't expect us to shut Lamar down 9 carries for 17 yards and Lamar throws for 150 yards or whatever, but he's going to get his. Great players get theirs either way. But I agree. I think this team there's so much riding on this because they got egos. They got egos. They got chips on their shoulders. No real football player likes being pushed around. And then you have to wait almost 2 years to go back out there and push them back around. So Detroit knows what's going on. I respect Baltimore. I think it's going to be a tight game at home. I just think that we go ahead and we gut the game out 27-24.
Yeah.
So, but we will be back Monday night to break this all down for you guys. Hopefully, we'll be breaking down the Detroit Lions win. Until next time, enjoy your Saturday.